I would say we are in a major epoch change. An era has changed. The game changer was the COVID-19 virus. Now, let me take a step back. 3 years ago, Dr. Len Sweet, who was my doctoral chair for future studies, semiotic, which is about signs, Greek word for signs, but it's both theological signs as well as signs in the culture. We wrote a book called Rings of Fire. It had 40 chapters, but Tyndale House only wanted to publish 25. So we had to cut down 15. They're still existing. We may do another book later on. But in chapter 15 of Rings of Fire, the chapter title is called Chinification.
Wow.
And there is a sentence in chapter 15 where we allude to a virus coming from China that would be a game changer and change the world. It would press.
Now, was that revealed to you prophetically? How did you know?
Well, I mean, when we say prophetically, again, if we go back and look at cycles in history, we looked at the Spanish flu, we looked at plagues from the past, and then we looked at where things were emerging in the global arena, and we looked at what was going on within science and research and technology in China, and began to say the possibility exists that something could accidentally or deliberately emerge from a laboratory in China and have a major worldwide reset button effect. So in future studies, we would call that a black swan event or a wild card event. When in future studies, you look at the possible future, the probable future, the plausible future, the preferable future, or the wild card or the black swan. The COVID virus was a black swan. A black swan is a rare, large impact, hard to predict event. It's discontinuous beyond the realm of normal expectations. Nobody sees it coming, even though they want to blame everybody after it comes. You really can't see it coming. Before black swans were discovered in Western Australia by a Dutch explorer in 1697, people believed all swans were white. So for all of human history until 1697, everybody believed that swans were white. It was an incontrovertible view confirmed by empirical evidence in the world that the Europeans and the Westerns explored. But they never went to Australia. And so this Dutch explorer goes down to the western coast of Australia off of Perth, and there's a black swan. And once that happens, it invalidated thousands of years of confirmatory sightings of only white swans. And so a black swan event is an event that's a surprise to the people that are living it and seeing it. It has a major impact. And after it is taking place, we try to rationalize it as if we could have expected it, because we think the relevant data should have been available, but we can't account for it. So then we get angry at everybody, which is what has happened. And we've politicized this thing, basically because our perceptions are, well, it had to, you should have known. Well, you can only, one of the things we learn in future studies is that the future cannot be predicted. You can't know the future. Biblically, prophetic, I know we talk about the Bible prophecies as being predictive, but when Isaiah says 700 years before Mary says yes to Gabriel, Isaiah says a virgin shall conceive and shall bear a child. And it's really related to the promise of incarnation. So Isaiah is not making a prediction, he's making a prophetic promise. The future is a promise, theologically, not a prediction. And the reality is that when the angel Gabriel shows up to Mary, here's why it's a promise, because it has to be received. Because Mary could have said no. I mean, she really could have said no, but she didn't. She said, be it unto me according to your word. Now, God had groomed her for that moment, but we still have a part to play in co-laboring with God to bring about the preferable future. And so while God can do whatever God wants to do, God in his sovereign wisdom has said, I want to do this with you. And so he invites us to participate with him by saying yes to the promise.